Here come the Golden Eagles. Building just chock full of Marquette blue and gold tonight for our Saturday primetime game presented by DirecTV. A battle of two of the top teams in the Big East. Number 12, Pittsburgh, taking on number 21, Marquette. And the significance of this game as we show you the Big East standings. Georgetown won earlier today, defeated Connecticut. Pittsburgh needs a win here tonight to share the Big East regular season title. Marquette trying to go into the Big East tournament on an up note and trying to avoid falling any further back in league standings heading into the Big East Championship, which begins Wednesday in New York City. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the sold-out Bradley Center. Dan Shulman and Dick Vitale with you. They're expecting the biggest crowd ever to watch a Marquette game here tonight, and there's a lot at stake, both for the Golden Eagles and for the visiting Pitt Panthers.
Well, you look at Pittsburgh. They're trying to get their sixth Big East title in 25 years. Unbelievable right now. They're in a position, if they win this game, they share the title with the Georgetown Hoyas. And let me tell you, talk to Jamie Dixon, it's very important. Plus a little revenge. They lost earlier this year. They lost to Marquette at home at the Oakland Zoo.
Marquette's lost 4 out of 5, looking for some momentum heading into the Big East tournament and, of course, the NCAA tournament. But there's a problem for the Golden Eagles tonight. One of their best players, Jarrell McNeil, is out with a thumb injury sustained in practice yesterday. Won't play tonight. Questionable for the Big East tournament. With the impact of that injury, let's go to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Well, Dan, in speaking with Marquette head coach Tom Crean today, he said this is an enormous loss for the Golden Eagles. And he said you simply can't put a value on Jarrell McNeil. He is a leader on the floor as well as off. Now, the coaching staff has decided, look, we can't dwell on this because we don't know when we're going to get Jarrell McNeil back, and we don't want the players to worry about it as well. What Crean has told his players is that he needs everybody to step up defensively. And Tom Crean also added, look, we can't even wait for the tournament. We're going to see what we're made of tonight.
Dave Revson and Tom Brennan with you in our ESPN studios. Obviously, we're having some audio problems in Milwaukee. We will try to keep you apprised of what's going on in the game, and as soon as they get Dan and Dick's audio back, we will hear from those guys, TB.
Yes, sir. Waited all year for this moment. I feel like Wally Pipp.
Here in intensity we expect tonight.
We got it.
They split some hard-fought games last year.
Let's go back after the guys in
overtime
Milwaukee.
at Pittsburgh earlier this year. These two teams like to get after each other, and it's very possible, Dick, as Greg gets Pittsburgh the lead, they could meet again in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament.
I'll tell you one thing, Gray wide open right there to knock that down. The senior class for Pittsburgh, Dan, the only current senior class to win over 20 overall games and 10-plus Big East regular season games 4 consecutive years.
And we understand we're having some audio difficulties. Bear with us. We're working on those as Levance Fields comes up with a loose ball, and he will miss the left-handed layup.
He's very important to this basketball team. Pittsburgh, his penetration ability.
Lazar Hayward, freshman from Buffalo, who's moved into the starting lineup, played some great basketball in recent weeks for the Golden Eagles. This is Dominic James, last year's Big East Rookie of the Year. Shooting numbers are down, but assists, defense, rebounding, all very strong. Tough shot by Hayward. The follow for Ousmane Barrow.
Barrow hanging around the glass. One of the real dilemmas for Marquette recently in that slide would have lost 4 out of 5 is that defensively their interior defense has broken down.
Barrow has been given the job of trying to defend Gray. They get it into Gray, who's got a lot of size on Barrow. Good help by Hayward, though. And Marquette turns a turnover into offense as well as any team in this conference.
And that was the key in their victory the first matchup. They forced 18 turnovers, and there's a different kind of turnover. You can force a turnover to where you don't get into conversion. They do a great job of keeping it on the floor and going the other way and scoring.
That's when their guards are so dangerous. They don't have McNeil, but they still have Matthews and James. Offensive rebound by Kendall, but he pushed off.
Watch their game plan is to double up on Gray when he touches the basketball. There's the big guy. Now look at the double team on the inside. There it is right there. They double up and they force that turnover. They're going to attack him in the post, make him pass the ball, but he's a very creative passer.
Yes, he is. A much improved passer from a couple of years ago, a much improved player from a couple of years ago. Hayward open for 3, and Gray rips down the rebound.
Hayward's going to get a lot of looks tonight. Nobody back.
And Kendall is fouled by Fitzgerald.
There's Kendall, one of those glue guys. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to make a statement here, and I really believe it. For Marquette to win, they're going to need a sensational performance out of Dominic James. Anything less than that, if he's mediocre, I don't believe they have a chance to beat Pittsburgh.
Well, we saw him at his best early this season against Duke. He's had some phenomenal games. Single-handedly beat Valpo, scored 18 consecutive points late in the second half. He can be as good as it gets, and if you think back to preseason, Dominic James and Ronald Steele of Alabama were the 2 point guards on most of the All-American lists.
Well, Ronald Steele's had so many injuries. He's been out of the lineup lately. It's really been tough because he's the key and the catalyst for that Alabama team.
And in fact, we've got 2 Cousy Award finalists here tonight for the best point guard in the country. There are 17 finalists. Dominic James and Levance Fields are both on that list.
I'll be voting on that, and I'm looking forward to it because Bob Cousy was the epitome of an unbelievable point guard.
Gray misses the turnaround jumper.
Place is alive, really alive.
Students were standing outside for hours in frigid temperatures today to get the best available student seats. Now, again, we understand we were having some audio problems. For those of you who may not have heard it earlier, Jarrell McNeil sustained a thumb injury at a practice yesterday. As you can see, obviously will not play tonight. He's got a splint on it, had x-rays, told our Andy Katz it's a sprain, hopes to be available for the Big East tournament beginning Wednesday.
I'll tell you where they hurt really with Alabama lineup is on the defensive side. He gets so many deflections. In fact, has more than what they said they charted during Dwayne Wade's days. That's
always been a very big focus for a Tom Crean team is to track those deflections. McNeil gets 12 per game.
Wow.
Let's get more on Jarrell McNeil now from Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Dan, Jarrell also told me that he was told by the coaching staff that he will meet with trainers and doctors tomorrow, and they will make a decision on his status for the Big East tournament as well as the NCAA.
And he is such an important player for them, and there's so little margin for error in a conference such as this. There's so little separating so many of the teams bunched together in the middle. And there are coaches who have said, you know, Dominique James is a terrific player, but there are some opposing coaches in this league who think that guy, Jarrell McNeil, is actually the best player on this team.
Well, you know, they're all really complement each other.
Yes, they do.
They're so lethal when you talk about perimeter play. And you have a great chance to win today in college basketball when you excel on a perimeter.
Nice dunk down. And Cook drops it in and is fouled. If that's Fitzgerald, that's going to be his second.
They do a great job utilizing the passing ability of Gray. And Gray with the great size, the high-low entry. See right here, freeze it right here. The high-low is going to enter the ball down low. Great. See, he draws two people up on top and it creates a one-on-one maneuver on the interior.
Second foul on Fitzgerald. Remember, he's only in the starting lineup because McNeil is out with the injury. So Marquette is lacking some of their depth here tonight. It looks like Fitzgerald is going to have to stay in the game with those two fouls.
Well, what the difference is basically Fitzgerald's a perimeter three-point shooter where McNeil is an attacker. He's aggressive and going to the basket like his coach. I'll tell you, Tom Crean has done a phenomenal job here. When I think of Marquette, one name comes to me, the name Al McGuire. He was as special as it gets. You talk about a beautiful guy who really had a way of communicating with all people.
Now Fitzgerald goes out. Mike Kinsella checks in, a 7-foot senior from Rochester, Minnesota. He's played a total of 48 minutes this year. Yes, he's 7 feet, but he's a perimeter player. He'll shoot jump shots. He can guard guys on the perimeter. And right now, Aaron Gray is matched up with Kinsella. But that may work to Marquette's advantage because they're going to try to pull Gray away from the basket as much as they can.
Yeah, they're going to try to pull him away, but if they stay in a man-to-man and have to match up, I got to believe the experience factor of Aaron Gray's got to be a big plus against a young kid like Kinsella.
We told you, he'll shoot it, and he'll hit it.
I'll tell you what, that scouting report is accurate, but the big guy can step away. He's going to get a lot more minutes than 48 minutes against threes.
The focus at shoot-around today and practice yesterday for Marquette was get Aaron Gray away from the basket. Let's get him out of his comfort zone.
He's a double-double guy.
Kendall left open, and he knocks down a three.
I think somebody's got to tell Kendall that he's got to be a little bit more assertive offensively. He's one of those glue guys you have to have.
Coming off a good game against West Virginia Tuesday with 12 points, 9 rebounds, and he comes up with a steal right here, only for the Panthers to turn it right back over.
I saw a terrific glue guy the other day, Dame Bradshaw at Tennessee, a special kid.
How about the big guys knocking down some threes? Kinsella into the game and right onto the score sheet, and then Kendall with the answer at the other end. They're getting at it here tonight.
And people are saying, who's Kinsella? Who's Kinsella? People didn't have him in the scouting report.
It's a rivalry, and it's heating up early here in Milwaukee.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV. And in part by Citi, real rewards real fast. And Hummer, like nothing else.
This telecast is available in stunning high definition on ESPN HD. Glad you're with us tonight here in Milwaukee for tonight's telecast of Pittsburgh and Marquette. Hey, it's championship week coming, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And already you've been watching some championship games from some conferences today from March 1st right through the 11th. 89 men's and women's games, 34 championships, and every ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Classic game is also available. Just go to ESPN360.com. Who's already in the big dance? Well, Penn locked up the Ivy League title. Winthrop, Belmont, Davidson winning their respective conference championship games today.
I'll tell you, congratulations to those four. Some Davids that are going to challenge the Goliaths. Remember the name, Stephen Curry. His dad was Del Curry. He broke the freshman record for most threes made for the year for Davidson.
And keep an eye on Winthrop. They played some teams awfully tough at the beginning of the season. Ask North Carolina about Winthrop.
Well, they lost overtime to Wisconsin.
That's right.
Wisconsin. Yep. They made 13 threes in that game.
Cook can't get the shot off on time. Now Kendall down on the post. And the jump hook. He's starting to look for that offense a little bit more. And when it started, Dick, is when Aaron Gray sprained his ankle and missed a game. Kendall had to look for his offense more. Now he's just carrying on with that.
I could never understand why he doesn't take more shots and asserts himself. He's got ability.
Matthews is fouled by Cook and will shoot a couple. But not only is Kendall looking to score more, but as you mentioned, Dick, he's a glue guy. He does all the little things.
We're going to take a look right here. There's the drive to the goal. Look at the blocking shots. And now we're going to watch him on the offensive side in a post position, a one-on-one, little post move, little jump hook. We've documented so many times what he did to the USA team, for the Canadian team. You could take it another step.
It's the funny thing about him is the summer before last, playing in a tournament against Team USA, Levon Kendall scored 40 points
against great players.
Against great players, has never scored more than 15 in a game as a Pittsburgh Panther, but what a find he's been. And Jamie Dixon found him by accident. It was the week after 9/11, and Dixon was supposed to go to a tournament in New York City that was obviously canceled. So instead he drove to a tournament in Toronto to scout a couple of other players and stumbled upon Levon Kendall.
There's Marquette rotating defensively. Multiple defenses by Tom Crean. Went to the 2-3 zone.
Kendall with the rebound, misses the follow, and Kinsella runs it down.
Kinsella getting some quality minutes. He's going to push the speed.
And a block again by Kendall. Got a finger on that one.
He's really playing solid on the defensive side. A little acrobatic shot. Good rotation defensively coming from the help side.
They weren't sure, Dick, if Kendall actually was going to start this game. He didn't practice Thursday. Injured a toe a couple of days ago. They're calling it turf toe, but he says it's more like a hyperextended big toe on his right foot, but he looks all right here tonight.
All three guys. They got three guys. Gray with the ankle, still a little bit bothering him, and also Young with a little knee problem.
Sam Young, tendonitis in both knees. He's into the game now. Number 23, Ronald Ramon, Keith Benjamin have already checked in as well. The Panthers go 9 deep. Nice pass. And Jameel Lott with the left hand, the assist. Already the third of the night for Dominique James.
Well, he averages 4.7 assists a game. Last year averaged 5.4. Numbers are very similar to last year, but as you said earlier, his shooting numbers are down. Shooting 38%, shooting 28% from the three. Well, shot selection is the problem. Shot selection.
What Tom Crean wants to see, and he's seen it tonight, penetrate and find the open man. James does that as well as anybody. Sam Young into traffic, lays it home.
Sam Young's one of those kids that spectacular ability. You can see that he's favoring his knee a little bit as he goes up gingerly up the floor.
6 lead changes already. We mentioned how incredibly close the 3 games have been between these two teams the last 2 years, and tonight it looks like no exception. Now they respect Kinsella. They saw him hit 1 3. By the way, the first of his career.
See what they did? Smart move and adjustment by Pittsburgh. They're not playing him with Aaron Gray.
Right.
They know he's going to play on the perimeter, so they put a smaller guy on him.
He's going to launch a 3. Anyways, and knock down another one.
Oh, is he going to get P2? There's a new player being born. He looks like Tom Crean. Hey, coach, you had me all year, coach. This is March 4th, and you finally decide to play me? Hey, coach.
You know, it was funny watching practice today. They were using him a lot, and we asked Tom Crean about it, and he said, yeah, he's a guy who can help us tonight, and he's done that. Deflection.
There's a jam. Yes, sir. They're rocking and rolling at Milwaukee. They're rocking and rolling. Al McGuire would love this. Al McGuire would love this environment. He'd have the Cassage on, and he'd be dancing.
A heavily anticipated game here in Milwaukee tonight. The game day guys doing a great job all day today. Had a couple of thousand students out this morning. They've been fired up for this game for a while, and the Golden Eagles have responded with great energy. Mike Kinsella, the first 2 threes of his career. Look at how pumped up he is, and look at the bench just loving every second of it. And then, you talked about it, defense turning to offense. James ahead, Matthews full throttle the other way for the jam.
And that's what they do really well. Look, Kinsella pumping his heart a little bit. He's like saying, hey, who's Aaron Gray, baby? Oh, is he going to sleep tonight? Is he going to sleep tonight? Forget about it. He'll be up all night talking about what happened here.
Gray is getting ready to check back in. We talked about how difficult a matchup it could be for him tonight and how Marquette wants to pull him away from the basket. Benjamin along on the 3. Loose ball rebound to James. David Kubian is into the game, but Kinsella's open again and misses this 3. Offensive rebound, Barrow.
They're a good offensive rebounding team. That's one of the strengths, even though Pittsburgh dominated them on the glass in the first matchup.
Now Kendall's guarding Kinsella. That leaves 6'3" Benjamin on 6'10" Barrow. Kinsella is presenting matchup problems here for Pittsburgh.
He's exclusively, though, a perimeter shooter with his great size. He's not going to give you any post-up ability.
Nope. James for three. And another rebound and a putback by Barrow, who's been everywhere tonight.
And there's their success on the offensive glass. That means you're playing with a lot of aggressiveness. And that's one of the reasons they chart deflections. Deflections is an indicator that you're playing aggressive basketball.
11-2 run for the Golden Eagles. And look at these second chance points. Doing a great job on the offensive glass.
Remember, they're coming in, slipping and sliding. They've lost 4 of their last 5.
Sam Young rattles out. Rebound, Kubian.
Kubian can shoot from the perimeter. Played at St. Benedict's under Danny Hurley, whose dad is Bob Hurley, nominated for the Hall of Fame, deservedly as well.
As you are, and we wish both of you the best this year. Roy Williams is up as well.
Bob Hurley's done an amazing job at St. Anthony's. What a great look inside.
Barrow the extra pass. Little stutter step, hesitation, and James drops it in.
And that's where he excels, attacking the basket. He's got to do that more often and forget about the perimeter shot.
Antonio Graves, and wave it off.
Superstar, really a superstar by Marquette, playing well.
Timeout taken by Pittsburgh before Graves buried a 3. What a great run here by Marquette to take an 8-point lead in front of a fired-up crowd at the Bradley Center. Well, Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods begins Monday on ESPN at 7 Eastern with the Colonial Athletic Association Championship, a league looking for maybe multiple bids in the tournament this year. And then it's the West Coast Conference Championship at 9 o'clock. Going to get all these games simulcast on ESPN 360.
I'll tell you one thing, Championship Week is so special, giving kids that dream. You talk about the Colonial, they deserve a multiple group of teams. That's going to be great. You watch James taking it to the goal, very quick, outstanding penetrator. You talk about Virginia Commonwealth, you talk about Old Dominion, Hofstra, Drexel. They've had great years in that league.
You talk about a guy who's a barometer for his team. When Dominique James plays well, Marquette wins, plain and simple. When he struggles with his shot, they struggle, but he is off to a great start. Sitting down with his buddy Jarrell McNeil, who's out with a thumb injury. James's numbers, look at the difference in the shooting percentages and the wins and the losses.
Exactly. I'll tell you one thing, they really struggled interior on the defense against Notre Dame in their last game. They've been off for a week. That Harringgoody had a big time
He
game.
beat them up, 22 and 13. He just plain beat them up last week.
And I'll tell you this, Mike Bray's my choice as Coach of the Year in the Big East. I really do. I believe he's done a phenomenal job.
I'm not going to argue with you. Gray is back in. Kinsella's out. Jameel Lotta, senior, comes up with a block. Ramon for 3, one of the best shooters in the league. And the rebound comes down to Sam Young.
That's Ramon's great asset, shooting the 3.
Open in the corner. Cook misses it, and it bounces in for him. He wanted a call as well.
I tell you, the transfer, my old Marco Polo guy, gets that 3 to fall for him.
Mike Cook hit the rim bounce way up in the air and then dropped in. Jamie Dixon and Cook wanted a chance for a 4-point play. It is chilly here in Milwaukee, but the action is heating up inside. Golden Eagles and Panthers, more after this.
Let's go!
All right, Jay, well, you talked about how the winner in the Horizon League will get Butler in the championship game. Butler needed overtime to beat Loyola in the Horizon semifinal and advance to that championship.
You know, I love Austin Peay. I was there one time to speak at a banquet. They got a great chant. Let's go Peay. Let's go Peay.
Well, the officials at the break were looking at that last shot from Mike Cook, the jumper from the corner, trying to decide if it was a 2 or a 3, and you can clearly
Looks
see
like
that it's what's behind the line.
Yes, sir. He's behind the line. Even I could see that with one eye. I could see that with one eye, Dan Schumann.
They're still looking. Maybe they're looking for something else as it eventually rattled in, and now Mike Kitt signals, yes, it is a 3. So that'll make the score 22-17. Marquette leading Pittsburgh.
I tell you, the 3 really changes the complexion as we talk about often. Right now, you look at Pittsburgh struggling. There's a bouncing ball on the rim, falls in, and gives you a little bit of a momentum.
Marquette playing without one of their best players, Jarrell McNeil, out with a thumb injury. A terrific defensive player, a good penetrator.
One of the better players in the Big East. Talk about some of the stars of the league.
But both of these teams have gotten some great performances early from some of their complementary players. Mike Kinsella, a couple of threes for Marquette. Jamil Lott, a big block shot. Levon Kendall's been all over the place so far for Pittsburgh.
And that's what you're going to need as you start getting into tournament play. People are going to have to really step up, guys that have not been what you call quality performers all year.
Kubian with a shot fake. Ramon doesn't bite. Pittsburgh, they don't get a lot of steals. They play good, hard-nosed, half-court defense.
Kubian becomes big to them tonight without McNeil.
Matthews with 2 on the shot clock. And it's Pittsburgh basketball. Fields 1-on-4. Wisely pulls it out.
You know, Matthews' mom and dad both were in the Wisconsin Hall of Fame.
That's right. Dad went on to play pro ball as well. He grew up in Madison. Wesley Matthews, this Wesley Matthews did. Everybody thought he'd wind up playing for the Badgers.
Well, his dad was from out of Connecticut and decided to go play for Bill Cofield and the Badgers.
That's where Cook is tough. He is an outstanding penetrator. He can get to the rim.
Well, lack of communication defensively by Marquette. No one rotated over. Nobody closed off the driving angle.
Cook now with a game-high 8. He's averaging just over 10.
Hey, my friend, Wes Matthews, I remember him well. Played in the first game that I ever did on ESPN, 1979 against DePaul. You weren't even born then.
I was born.
You were born?
I had hair. I had hair then. Hayward off balance. It goes!
Hayward played in high school. His roommate, Paul Harris, now playing at Syracuse. Got beat by Villanova tonight.
That's right.
Villanova, what about their diaper dandy? Scotty Reynolds, as you look at the play right there by Hayward.
Well, Hayward goes to the line. Let's go to Dave Renson in the studio for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
Okay, Dan, some NFL news. The Bucs have reached an agreement with free agent quarterback Jeff Garcia, 2-year deal. Also, they did trade for the rights to Jake Plummer, although he has said he may retire. 3 automatic bids so far today. Winthrop in for the 7th time in 9 years. Belmont going out of the A-Sun for the 2nd straight season. And Davidson wins its 2nd Southern Conference title in a row. SportsCenter after the game, guys.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Belmont better start right now looking at the scouting report. And they better look at the Buckeyes and UCLA because they're getting one of those two, baby. Maybe Mr. Odin. But to the kids at Belmont, it's a special moment.
In is in. The dance is the dance.
That's right.
Kendall setting the screen, another one of his specialties. Aaron Gray quiet at the offensive end so far, Dick.
There's that matchup zone. They're attacking him all the time with 2 people. There it is. Pop the ball there.
As you said, he's a good passer. He's not going to look for his if it's not there. He will patiently keep passing the ball out.
Yeah, he doesn't force shots. That's why he averages only 14 a game.
Ramon not there. Weak side rebound, Gray. Looking for a guard, looking for help. Loses the ball in the double team. Wanted a foul call.
That's when Marquette excels.
It'll stay with the Golden Eagles.
I thought they were sensational. Jamie Dixon's kids, when we had them earlier in the year, they couldn't play any better than what they played against the Hoyas that night at Georgetown, because Georgetown had its A game on.
They lost the return matchup. A win tonight for Pittsburgh. They share the regular season title with the Hoyas, but they would still be the 2 seed. Georgetown wins the tiebreaker. If Pittsburgh loses tonight and Louisville beats Seton Hall tomorrow, which you'd figure they would, Pittsburgh drops down to the number 3 seed in the Big East tournament.
What a great story, Rick Pitino's kids. They welcomed the challenge of going on a road when they were struggling, and they had to beat Pittsburgh and Marquette.
That's right.
And they beat both of them. They're in character. I'm so happy to see him contributing now. I'm glad I was wrong. I said I never thought I'd see him in a Louisville uniform again when you and I had the Connecticut game. And I'm glad I'm wrong. You keep listening to Rick Pitino, Derek.
Dan Fitzgerald back in, playing with a couple of fouls. Kinsella's been on the bench after knocking down those threes, and now away from the ball. We got a moving screen, I believe, on Dwight Burke. Is going to pick up the foul. We'll step aside and tell you more about some of the great history of Marquette. 30 years ago, they won it all. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Well, back here in Milwaukee, the town where Marquette won the national championship back in 1977. Marquette led Pittsburgh here tonight by 6. Back then, they were known not as the Golden Eagles, as the Warriors. This is the 30th anniversary of Al McGuire's NCAA championship. Beat North Carolina in the championship game. Bo Ellis had a big game for, again, what the team that was known as the Warriors then. Butch Lee was named the tournament's most outstanding player. Al McGuire retiring right after that. One of the great characters, one of the great coaches that the game of the sport have ever seen.
And sitting right on the bench, Rick Majerus along with Hank Raymond. Look at the team right there. That's Al McGuire. All style, man. All flash, and then all productivity once they were on the court. Talked to Butch Lee a little bit earlier tonight. Bo Ellis is in the house, Earl Tatum, Butch Lee. I'll tell you one thing. They were a special basketball team. We played them 80 minutes 2 years in a row. And you know what the score is?
Dead even. And for folks who don't know, Dick talked it a little bit pregame with the game day guys. Dick, at the time, was the head coach at the University of Detroit. They came into Milwaukee the year Marquette won the national championship, and they walked out of this town with a win. Probably the biggest win you had as coach at UD.
I didn't have 2 minutes, so that was a big one.
Fields misses the three with 5 on the shot clock. Fitzgerald brings down the rebound.
Had some great kids. Terry Durod, Terry Tyler, John Lawville went on to play in the NBA. We won 21 in a row. We had beaten them here on our court.
And Tom Crean, very in tune with Marquette history and always relishing an opportunity to connect the past to the present. Wesley Matthews, 2 more.
And that's what he does really well. He and James are attackers, and so is McNeil. They're at their best, and we saw them at their best against Duke when they were attacking the basket. Again, it's a strong defensive unit that Duke presents.
Matthews with 8. Marquette in a 2-3 zone. Marquette shooting the ball better than Pittsburgh and getting to the rim more, and they're going to get to the rim again. James a steal.
Look at the elevation. The high wire guy. Now recruited by Indiana, he said. He told Bobby Knight, he said, if you were there, I'd probably play for you.
Marquette tacking on a 7-0 run after an earlier 13-2 run, and again turning defense into offense.
They're playing with a lot of spirit. You can feel it. You can feel the energy. And it all comes from the guy on that sideline, Tom Crean.
Well, the last thing that Tom Crean said to his team at a practice today is he said the crowd is going to be nuts in here tonight. Don't wait for them to give us our energy. Let's make them. Let's give them energy. And boy, Dominique James and Wesley Matthews and Mike Kinsella, the way they've played, they have really fired up this crowd even more.
And he also told me, he said, hey, we don't want no celebration on our court. Winning championships.
Right.
This is our court. We don't want to come on our living room floor.
Graves misses the jumper. Here comes James again. James playing very much in control here tonight. Matthews, 2 more.
There's another example. I'll repeat myself again. They're at their best when they're attacking the rack. When they're putting the ball to the deck and they're going to the basket with the rock, they're at their best. They're very explosive. They have superb quickness on the perimeter. And my friend, you can advance far in the tournament with superb perimeter players.
How often do you see when a key player is out for a team, everybody else picks it up a notch? Wesley Matthews is certainly doing that tonight.
Yeah, he and James have really elevated their games, going up a notch. They got the help from Kinsella. That gave them a big lift as well.
Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods has the SEC Women's Championship on ESPN2 tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern. Earlier this evening, LSU beat Tennessee, so LSU is going to take on the winner of Vanderbilt and Georgia in the SEC Women's Championship. Here's what Sylvia Fowles did. 19 points, 22 rebounds.
Wow.
A full day's work. The championship game tomorrow night on ESPN2.
Sylvia, 22 rebounds. You know who plays for LSU? I spoke to her brother yesterday, and he couldn't wait to watch her play. Brandon Phillips, the second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds. His sister's a star down at LSU.
Also on the women's side, Duke lost to NC State
today.
Yep.
Kay-Yow, what a win for Kay-Yow. You talk about guts and heart, battling cancer.
Fields did the splits and somehow avoided traveling. Pittsburgh's been knocked on its heels a little bit here tonight by the Golden Eagles.
They seem not to be playing at a real fever pitch.
Great catch by Graves down on the baseline. Can't get the shot up and in, and back come the Golden Eagles again. Usman Barrow altered that shot. And James draws the foul. Let's check in with Aaron Andrews now. Aaron?
Well, Dan, normally a mild-mannered guy, Aaron Gray was so unhappy with his team during West Virginia's halftime. Remember, they were down in that game. He gave it to his team in the locker room during the half. He said, don't forget, we still have a chance to win the Big East. Of course, tonight, Dan, if they win this game, they could still win a share of the Big East title. Can you only imagine how upset he will be if they go into the half losing to Marquette?
I'll tell you one thing, you talk about Aaron Gray coming back to school. You got to credit also Charles Smith, former player who talked to Aaron Gray about coming back. Take a look at Gray on the inside. Here he is, being doubled up, really having a tough time getting free. Everywhere he goes, he's attracting two people. There's two fight, another turnover. Charlie Smith, former great player at Pittsburgh in the mid-'80s, talked to him about staying in school, and he said he gave him great advice. By the way, he's the all-time leading scorer in the history of Pittsburgh, 2,045 points. Mr. Smith from Connecticut.
10-0 run now for Marquette. 13-point lead, 5 minutes to go first half. Aaron Gray had a bucket 18 seconds into the game, hasn't scored since.
They're doing a great job defensively, really denying him the basketball.
Boy, and Ousmane Barrow's been great at the defensive end. That's a 3-second call. They love Ousmane Barrow here, a guy who didn't play a whole lot of competitive basketball before coming to the United States. He's from Senegal, but a guy who's gotten better and better. He can run the floor like a deer, and at the defensive end, he's really given the Panthers some problems.
Well, what they're doing defensively, they're really working as a unit. All their players have stepped up defensively. Barrow, Hayward, certainly James, and Matthews as well.
The Marquette folks feel one of the stories that hasn't been told about Dominic James this year is how well he plays defense. Matthews turns it over. Fields with a tough finish at the other end.
Fields has got to start to assert himself. He's really been very passive here early in the game. He's a really talented young guy out of civilian high school. Chris Mullen came from that high school, also nominated for the Hall of Fame. Best shooter I ever saw in all my years. Really, he was unbelievable on the collegiate level for St. John's.
Fields, just a sophomore. James in rhythm knocks down a three.
See, that was a good shot for him. You're right, Dan. I'm going to make you coach Schumann. You're right. He shot that in rhythm. He didn't force it.
He has not forced anything. He's had an outstanding game here tonight. This is the end where Marquette's really getting it done, though. The defensive end. Gray, the offensive rebound and the putback. One of the few second opportunities Pittsburgh's had tonight.
Well, nobody blocked him out. Right to the basket.
Under 4 to go in the first half.
So you want to right now to make sure you don't give Pittsburgh any momentum to go in that locker room. You want to control tempo at this stage.
Marquette likes to run a little bit of a weave on the perimeter. This time it's James coming all the way around to the right wing to get the basketball. And he's fouled on his way to the bucket.
In their losses, the Stars average about 10 free throws. In their wins, they go to the line about 18 times.
Well, Aaron Gray, after a long drought, gets back in the action again for Pittsburgh with the putback. His second field goal tonight. Dominic James hot from the outside tonight. Marquette up a dozen.
2 in double overtime.
Well, Dave, great action from the Pac-10. Coming up on the UPS halftime report, you'll see all the Pac-10 highlights. UCLA losing. Ohio State got a battle in Ann Arbor. Kansas, what a game for the Big 12 championship with Texas. And 3 more teams are into the dance. Digger and Jay and Reese and Hubert will tell you all about it. They're prepping. They're getting ready for the UPS halftime report. Now, let me ask you this, Dick. UCLA lost today. Ohio State, Kansas, both won. Where do you stand now on number 1 seeds?
Well, if I had to win number 1 seeds right now, I got Ohio State, UCLA, and Kansas. And I think the 4th winner will come down to Florida and North Carolina. If North Carolina beats Duke tomorrow and does well early in the tournament, gets a couple of wins in the ACC, I think they still can get a number 1. Florida, I believe, still can get a number 1 if they beat Kentucky tomorrow. And I look for Florida. I think they're going to regroup. They're 17-0 at home. They're too talented. They're too well coached to play like they did against Tennessee. I think they still have an outside shot.
Is this a year, though, where if you get a 1 or a 2, maybe it's not that big of a deal? We've seen that all the number 1s are beatable by under the right set of circumstances this year.
I would say this, though. It's still an edge in getting a number 1, simply because of history. Think about it. No number 1's ever lost to a number 16. Right. But the number 2s have lost 4 times to 15s. My number 2 seeds were Wisconsin, Texas A&M, and I will tell you right now, you have to put whoever doesn't get it, Carolina or Florida, and I put Memphis on that 2 line. I know a lot of people are saying their conference. To me, the way they have won and dominated, they deserve a number 2 seed.
All right, so I want to ask you, as Graves knocks down a 3, we're sitting here doing a Big East game. Say Pittsburgh and Georgetown to get to the Big East championship. The winner of that game doesn't get a 2?
Well, yeah, now that's why there's still a lot of basketball. You asked me as of today.
Right.
With that kind of basketball being played, Dan, now you've got to change. Come back and talk to me then. We'll make a change.
If you give me your number, I'd come back and talk to you. James, he knew he missed that one. Tried to follow it right away. Barrow with another rebound. He has been very active tonight.
They've been very active offensively on the boards.
Kubiana giving them some quality minutes. James can move off the ball a little bit when Kubiana's in there.
Pittsburgh really's made a little bit of a run here. They were down 14, got it down to 9.
Fitzgerald pulling Gray away from the basket.
This important possession right now for Pittsburgh. They got to shut them down in this possession and maybe convert on the other end.
Shot clock a factor. 3. Kubian from the wing. Big shot for the Golden Eagles.
That is big. They managed the clock. They ran it down, took time off, and got the ball to Kubian for the 3.
And his injured buddy McNeil looks on with pride from the bench. A missed dunk at the other end. Loose ball. Gray didn't know it. The ball was right beside him. Now he comes up with a block on Hayward. Boy, it's physical out there. No call on the other end after the contact. Cook misses the putback. And now we've got a whistle.
Tom Crean, former assistant, part of the tree of Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo today lost a heartbreaker. Aaron Andrews was there in the house out of Wisconsin when Cameron Taylor hit that big 3. There's, look at the clock ran down. Terrific job. He wants a foul right here. He wants a foul ball right there. You know what? Should have had one too. Can't believe it. I don't blame you, Tom. I don't blame you, Tom. Coach has a right to scream. Something I never did.
No, I'm sure.
They reminded
the picture of calm and tranquility on the sideline.
They reminded me, you would not have believed it. Hank Raymonds was here, former assistant to Al McCoy. They reminded me back here in Milwaukee, my first year, I got run off to the streets of Milwaukee, got ejected. I threw my tie on the court, and they presented, I spoke at a banquet in Milwaukee, they presented me my tie.
Really?
But I knew I was in trouble in the game because the referee said to me, hey, Vitale, we're your captains. Mr. McGuire, we're your captains. When I heard that, I said we have no shot.
But you only lost by 1, right?
No, that year
was
we
a
got
different
blown
game?
out.
Oh, okay.
We got blown out my first year.
Kubian looking for another one.
Oh, Kubian says, hey, coach, we don't need Gerald tonight. You got Kinsella, you got Kubian.
Kubian a couple of threes. Kinsella a couple of threes. And look at the intensity on the face of Kubian at the defensive end. Ramon will quiet the crowd with a 3 of his own.
Poor job by Marquette. You got to find him. The book's right there on their board. They tell you that he's the best three-point shooter in the conference.
And it was Kubian who gambled for the steal and then couldn't get back out to Ramon in time.
Can't gamble off that guy, Coach Schulman.
Well, we talked a little bit about Dick coaching Detroit and how they had a huge win over Marquette, the eventual national champions, back in 1977. Try though we did, couldn't find any video from the game.
Wow.
We wanted to see you storming the sideline, but we got the next best thing, the celebration when you guys back to Detroit after the win.
Oh, I don't remember that. How did you get
We took the clock and we went for the bundle on the last shot. Gambled all the way, and we got all the roses against the big man, Big Al.
Now, you just kissed a woman there. Who was that? Well, that was not Mrs. Vitale.
I'm going to tell you this. That was such a magical moment. How'd you like those sideburns, the thick glasses? I mean, I looked about 90 at that time. Had I stayed in coaching, I would have been dead at 50. It was the best thing of my life when Bill Davidson gave me the Ziggy and allowed me to go to TV. Look at this here. I cannot believe this. Look at all the printed stuff we had.
There you are.
There's my two
the
little girls.
Yeah.
Sherry, Terry, my wife, Lorraine. I had so much fun with so many beautiful guys that I coached there in Detroit. They were great, great people.
And again, we're talking about this because of the Al McGuire connection. And at halftime of tonight's game, they're going to honor the 1977 national champions. Give us again in a few words what Al McGuire meant to college basketball.
Oh, he was just a special human being. His ability, and he loved all people. He really did. And he really communicated so well with everyone. He and Jimmy Valvano had such a feel for dealing with players, dealing with referees, with people. Both guys were so special.
And a bump by Sam Young.
You asked me to put something in a few words. You got.
I know. As soon as I said it, I said, "What are you doing?"
I can't say
what
hello.
What are you doing?
I can't say hello in 5 minutes. Where'd you get all those pictures? I mean, that's unbelievable.
Ask Phil.
And the video,
Ask Phil Dean and the gang. I don't know where they found him.
What I'm glad you didn't have is the game, because my team was nervous and I wanted them to be positive. So I said, when we get there, I'm so confident we're going to win our 21st in a row that I will dance at midcourt with the cheerleaders. When we won, all the players came over and said, Coach, you're dancing, baby. And I went to center court and I did a dance, disco dip.
Well, I'm told, Phil just told me Dan Ferran is the guy you can thank for finding that video. And there's more. Maybe we'll have a chance to run some of it in the second half. But one of the biggest wins in UD basketball history. Marquette looking for a big win here tonight. Pittsburgh can run down the clock and hold for the final shot. They're on their feet at the Bradley Center. A sellout crowd loving the way that the Golden Eagles have responded here tonight.
Pittsburgh, man, has given up 70 points 3 times this year and have lost all 3. Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, and Marquette the first time.
Dominique James at 5'11" with a blocked shot.
And obviously, Marquette looks like it's heading over the 70 mark, so that could be an indicator of a tough night for the Panthers.
And a timeout was called with 2 seconds left. Marquette is going to have the basketball as they try to set something up for a last attempt to add to their lead. Let's revisit our State Farm Star Watch right now. We focused on Aaron Gray of Pittsburgh and Dominique James of Marquette, and it's been a bit of a mismatch so far. James, not only the points, just blocked a shot, 7 assists in the first half. And we talked early, Marquette can be a tough matchup for Aaron Gray because their big guys can shoot the ball and they make Gray come out away from the basket.
Well, James has done a great job attacking the basket, and he's also playing under control. He's finding people. He's doing a good job defensively, taking good shots. That's been only his dilemma.
And it's not that Gray has played poorly. I don't mean to imply that.
He hasn't got touches.
Right, and every time he gets a touch, he gets double-teamed and triple-teamed, and he's forced to give the ball up.
You know what I think is going to happen this year? When I look at Marquette, they could be in the mix. I really believe, as you look at the graphic here, 6 touches on 30 possessions. I really believe that this year could be one of those magical moments, a la Jimmy Valvano, a la Rolly Massimino as a 7 seed when he won the national title, a la Arizona as a number 4 seed, 5th in their conference, and they won it back in '97. I think one of the clubs in the middle of the seedings could go on and make a run. A team like a Maryland, a team like Marquette, if they get McNeil back. I'll give you a team, people are going to laugh I say this, don't count them out. They're too talented, they're well coached, but they've underachieved. Arizona.
Wow.
Arizona in the tournament could be dangerous.
2 seconds left in the half. John Cowell telling Wes Matthews he cannot run the baseline. He's got to keep his feet stationary as Marquette looks for one last effort here.
Good move by Jamie Dixon to put a big guy.
Would not have counted even if it had gone.
He put a big guy on the baseline. Jamie's got to get his kids a little fired up. Biggest deficit was 17 to Louisville. Tonight, 13.
Halftime here of our Saturday Prime game presented by DirecTV. A 13-point lead for the Golden Eagles as we go to Aaron with Tom Green.
Thanks, Dan. Coach, how have you managed to hold Aaron Gray to just 4 points so far?
Well, the zone has definitely been a great factor for us. I think everybody is very focused on making sure he gets the ball. We got to not only stay with the cutters, but we got to stay attached to him. He's so strong. Every time he's caught it with 2 feet in the paint, it's been a problem for us.
How do you keep up this focus and intensity in the second half?
Well, I think the defense and the rebounding got us to this point. And if we get away from that at all, we won't be able to keep it up. We got to be all about the defense rebounding and then trying to get easy shots on the other end.
Coach, thank you. Dan?
All right, Aaron. Well, their coach is all about a focus and intensity, and they're playing like it tonight. A 13-point lead for Marquette. The UPS halftime report is next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Papa John's. Order your next pizza online at papajohns.com. And State Farm. Great service, great rates. It's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm.
There ain't nobody hot as us up in your spot. Giving it to you play by play and shot for shot. ESPN is in the house, it's pop to pop. The NCAA has got the game on lock, and we can't be stopped.
A very impressive first half from the Marquette Golden Eagles in front of a sellout crowd here at the Bradley Center. It's Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV. 43-30 Marquette trying to beat Pittsburgh for the second time this season, and especially considering one of their best players, Jarrell McNeil, is out with a thumb injury. Ooh, boy, that's a little too much of us. That's a little too close. Especially considering Jarrell McNeil hasn't played because of the thumb injury, you really got to give the rest of the Golden Eagles a lot of credit.
Well, I think the Golden Eagles are up on top because of a simple formula. They play defense, shot selection. They didn't turn the ball over. And you look at Dominic James, the star, 7 assists and 0 turnovers.
And Marquette turning turnovers into points. That's one of the reasons why the field goal percentage is so good, why the points in the paint is so good. They have really had an outstanding first half. Kinsella knocked down the first 2 threes of his career. Kubian knocked down a couple of threes. And as you discussed and the game day guys discussed at halftime, Aaron Gray just did not get a lot of touches for Pittsburgh in the first half.
Well, 30 possessions, he touched the ball 6 times.
Let's check in with Aaron Andrews.
Well, Dan, as we mentioned before the half, remember Aaron Gray in the last game got very vocal and emotional with his teammates during the half. This time it was guard LeVansfield telling his team, don't blow this. We have a chance to win a share of the Big East title. Also, you may notice Dominique Jones with some tissue up his left nostril. He got banged in the nose. Bloody nose during the half, but he should be set to go.
He had a terrific first half, and we can see that now on the court. As Dick mentioned, 7 assists, no turnovers for James in the first half. If Marquette beats Pittsburgh in this game, Marquette is locked in as the 6th seed in the Big East tournament. And then if Louisville were to win against Seton Hall tomorrow, Pittsburgh would drop down to the 3 seed and set up a possible game between these two teams in the quarterfinals. If Pittsburgh wins, they share the Big East regular season title with Georgetown. The Panthers, they'll go in as the 2 seed. Marquette would drop down to 7. And again, 2 against 7, it would set up a possible rematch in the quarterfinals. Matthews has 14.
Well, he's taking good shots. He really is. His shot selection has been excellent. And the reason Georgetown has the edge and will get the number 1 seed if they're tied is because of the head-to-head against Louisville.
That's right, because Georgetown and Pittsburgh split this, so then you go to their record against the next best team. Georgetown to beat Louisville. Louisville beat Pittsburgh. Hayward on the drive, and he draws the foul. This is a guy, Hayward, got a little bit of a late start. The NCAA clearinghouse had to determine whether his academics were in order. They were, but he missed a lot of the preseason and conditioning, came off the bench at the beginning of the season, moved into the starting lineup in January, and is getting better and better by the week.
Pittsburgh's got 5 losses to quality teams. When you look at their losses, they lost back-to-back to Wisconsin, Oklahoma State when they were playing well, Marquette, Louisville, and Georgetown. I think Georgetown's going to really create problems in the postseason. Their big guy, Hibbert, and Green has been playing sensational. Certainly a rising star in coaching, and John Thompson III. I really think a dangerous team come the postseason.
Hibbert had a big game today against UConn, 18 points, 12 rebounds. Matthews felt he got knocked down on the shot, looking for a foul call. None was forthcoming, but then there's a foul against Pittsburgh after the shot, under the basket.
I'll tell you, the next 5 minutes really big to Pittsburgh. Hey, by the way, I know you'll be doing baseball. I had a chance to speak to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
Jim Tracy does a great job. He really is. They were strong in the second half of the season last year.
I think they're going to be good this year. They got a lot of good young players. I got a little baseball story for you. One of Tom Crean's better friends, Tony La Russa as well, the manager of the Cardinals. When the Cardinals were here in Milwaukee in September, Crean asked La Russa if Pujols would speak to the Marquette basketball team for about 5 minutes. He spoke for 50 minutes to Marquette about preparation, determination, intensity, always striving to be your best. And boy, and Tom Crean was just overwhelmed by what Albert Pujols did.
Well, Tony La Russa also spoke to the Florida Gators as Hayward made that drive to the roll.
Mike Cook follows the miss and gets the roll.
Good second effort, transfer from out of East Carolina.
Matthews stripped by Cook. Fields back in transition, 3-on-2. Graves is fouled by James and will go to the line.
Good job, defensive transition. Big East will be rocking you, and Lenny Elmore will be hooking up out there in New York.
And Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery will be there as well. If the tournament were to start at this very moment, based on what's happened up until now, Georgetown would be the one. You can see the top 4 get a bye in some very competitive games in the 5 through 12 bracket. 13 through 16 don't go to New York.
So much balance, and I don't like that at all. I'll tell you why I don't like that. I think you put those clubs in such a hole to try and market their programs. How do you go and market when you say, I can't even make my own league tournament? I really think that's going to change. Just like they're changing next year, they're going to make everybody play everyone at least once, and then 3 other teams 3 times for 18 games. Coaches don't like it. They don't like the 18 games.
Matthews now down in the post, having a huge night. He's got 16.
Did a great job inverting, going to the post. And if I was coaching, I would like it. TV, I love it.
Well, right now, I think the consensus is that as of this moment, the Big East is most likely to get 7 teams into the dance. There are a couple of teams who are going to try to play their way into the NCAA tournament in New York.
I think Villanova helped himself big time. Got one over Syracuse today.
Yeah, Villanova's got a great RPI, some road wins, a strong schedule.
Yeah, Texas.
They look pretty safe. It's teams maybe like West Virginia, possibly Providence, who need to have a couple of wins.
No. West Virginia's in.
West Virginia's in?
Over UCLA.
West Virginia's in?
They're better than 500 in conference. They'd have my vote. The VBDI just went wild when you said that.
All right.
With hesitation.
All right.
The VBDI said they're in.
The SBDI is not so sure.
Well, the SBDI VBDI's got more experience.
Yes.
Nice.
Look at this passing, huh?
What a clinic they're putting on. Great passing.
Dominique James, something else. Ousmane Barrow, a real crowd favorite, having a big night. 9 assists already in this game for James.
You know, you made a great point early in the game, Dan, when you said that a team can play without their star. Maybe on one night, everybody gets up and plays at another level. And then all of a sudden, reality sets in when you play without him. And there's McNeil sitting on a pine. Look at James. Penetration. He drives, draws, finds the open man. Great vision.
9 assists on the night again for Dominique James, one of the best point guards around. Would have been number 10 right there had Matthews gotten the roll. Barrow got knocked down. Pitt's back 5-on-4 the other way.
Terrific job defensively transition, getting back. They find the trailer.
And Dan Fitzgerald is called for the foul. He didn't like it at all. Spent some of the first half in foul trouble, and he's just picked up his third. But it's still a big, healthy lead for Marquette. Here at the Bradley Center, can the Panthers make a run?
It's not very often in life that you have an opportunity 30 years later to bring back every single person that was involved with that championship team. And I just want to say thank you, Marquette. We love you all. And here's a group of true warriors, and we are warriors forever.
That was Bo Ellis dressing the crowd at 77 National Championship team. The architect of it all, Al McGuire on the staff. Hank Raymond's on our own. Rick Majerus was part of that staff as well. A terrific bunch of guys. Had the National Player of the Year, Butch Lee. I was teasing Butch before as you watched the Tippett. I said, Butch, you were so quick out of the win Clinton High in New York. Now you look like an offensive guard.
Rick Majerus not here tonight. Did the game up in Madison that Aaron was at earlier today, and he's got another game tomorrow, but an assistant coach on that team back in '77. James, the 3. And the rebound brought down by Cook. Pittsburgh has made a very small dent into this lead, but they appear to be on the verge maybe of getting back into this game.
They really got to go on a little spurt right here. They need some help out of Gray. Gray's got to get a little more involved offensively. He's got to find a way to get free for the basketball.
Gray's 6 points and 6 rebounds tonight.
He's going to probably head for a double-double, but a very quiet double-double.
Ramon, the step-back 3. And Gray, his 7th rebound.
Oh, he brought the ball down. He made himself small.
But then he hit the floor to help get it back. Good work by the big guy. Fields for 3.
Oh, that was in. That baby was down in. It came out. Big possession. A stop right there. Very important to Marquette. That would have given Pittsburgh some momentum.
Definitely. James, by the way, with the ball, the 9 assists matches a career high, something he's done 4 other times.
Well, I think the big thing is he's not turning the ball.
Right, only 1 so far tonight.
9-to-1 ratio is pretty good.
Out there with Fitzgerald, Barrow, Hayward, and Matthews, who just got fouled by Aaron Gray. And Gray, Aaron mentioned this earlier. Aaron Andrews mentioned this about Aaron Gray. He's not normally a very vocal, demonstrative guy, but on the court tonight, he's been frustrated. This has not been an enjoyable night of basketball for Aaron Gray.
Well, they've been frustrated from the start. Marquette has taken charge, and I think they're going to forget those frustrations and just start playing basketball and really unite and do the things that they've done all year to have an outstanding year.
Tough matchups for him. He'll come out. Sam Young will come back in. David Kubian has replaced Dan Fitzgerald for Marquette.
And Kubian really was so effective in the first half. He and Kinsella made big threes. They made 4 between them.
James with a mismatch has Young on him. Now Hayward, he's got the mismatch the other way with the guard Fields on him, but he has it knocked away.
good rotation of the ball, deflected.
Cook on the drive. Crowd wanted to walk on him.
Kendall's really been quiet.
They better get out of the paint in a hurry. They do just in time. Still 15 on the shot clock.
Well, they're out of the man-to-man play, out of the zone, playing man-to-man defensively. They've been multiple defenses. Their zone was very effective in the first half.
The crowd applauding this defensive set by the Golden Eagles. Shot clock at 3.
A challenge at every pass.
Shot clock at 1.
Challenged every pass. A terrific job defensively. And that was the strong suit of that 77 team. Al McGuire did a masterful job defensively.
Mike Kinsella, who hit his first 2 career threes in the first half, comes back in. Gray will return. Pittsburgh ball with 1 on the shot clock. Ramon gets a clean look.
A good look. Got the right guy to shoot it.
And it'll be Marquette basketball.
You know, look at the perimeter game. Pittsburgh really strong on a perimeter. Can rotate a lot of bodies. Graves has been effective.
Yeah, this is a bit of a different Pittsburgh team than, say, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Brandon Knight, Chevy Troutman, Donatas Zavascus, Jerron Brown. Those teams might have been more physical. This is a tough team. Those teams might have been even tougher. But this team has more offensive weapons on the perimeter than those teams have.
Yeah, they really got guys that knock down the 3. They got multiple people that can make that 3. Trying to spread the court here. So many good things happen. Shot selection. Oh, that's a block. He stepped out. No communication. No help.
Number 3 on Aaron Gray. And the last 2 have been virtually identical. He stepped into the path of Matthews. And Matthews is rattled. He's shaken up right now.
He's trying to step out what they call hedging defensively.
Well, that's a brick wall of a hedge when you run into a 7-foot, 270-pound guy like Aaron Gray. He's on Kinsella, and again, Kinsella is purely a perimeter player.
Kinsella wants to take him away from the goal. Kinsella's running around making screens and looking for an open 3.
James splits the double team, made a beautiful feed into the corner, but Kubian couldn't knock it down. Let's go to Aaron Andrews.
It's amazing, guys, with Jarrell McNeil on the bench, out of the game, the intensity that Marquette is playing with, and that is something head coach Tom Crean has been all over them about since losing their past 4 out of 5. Playing harder, playing smarter. Before they were just playing in stretches. Now he wants them to stretch that to 40 minutes.
I'll tell you, Aaron, I don't know. I smell a little run coming on by Pittsburgh. I really think Pittsburgh's going to get a little spurt here and make this interesting. I think Tom feels that as well. This game is far from over.
A big game for Marquette for seeding. They'll be the 6 instead of the 7 in the Big East tournament. Also just for confidence and momentum, having lost 4 of their last 5. Another foul call against the Golden Eagles. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods begins Monday on ESPN at 7 Eastern. The championship of the very competitive Colonial League. And then at 9 Eastern, it's the West Coast Championship. All these games also simulcast on ESPN 360. We can tell you in the Colonial quarters, VCU won today, ODU won, Drexel won, Hofstra is playing tonight.
What a nice drive to the basket right there. Strong basket. I think the Colonial, and you look at the Missouri Valley, multiple teams, quality play, really terrific coaches, great competition.
Southern Illinois and Creighton have advanced to the championship game, by the way, in the Missouri Valley.
Salukis with Jamal Tatum are going to be a dangerous team in a postseason.
Pittsburgh's got it down to 11. They're starting to make that run.
You feel it coming on. He played a lot better defensively. They're asserting himself a little bit more.
Matthews, he's had a big night, and it gets even bigger. He's got 19.
That's a big one. His daddy was something else down in Wisconsin, played in the NBA. Was an explosive player. Oh, that 3 come at the right time.
Nice little shake there by Fields, but he left the 15-footer short.
Yeah, he short-armed it. He didn't follow through.
Barrow comes up with a rebound. Kubian!
Those 3s, baby! They're raining some 3s! Trifectas! Oh, that'll change the complexion! Got a TO, baby, said Mr. Dixon!
And for the second time after he calls a timeout, Graves hits the 3, but the timeout had been called a few seconds earlier. 2 threes for Marquette. Their last 2 possessions to get this one back out to a 17-point lead.
And those 3s just really take your heart out. How big are those 3s? That they are. NBA, nothing but nylon.
Give something to steal.
This telecast is available in stunning high definition on ESPN HD. 17-point lead for Marquette. Wes Matthews knocks down a three. David Kubian knocks down a three. There was no HD back in 77, but that's what the SI cover was like after the then Marquette Warriors beat Carolina for the national championship.
That's Butch Lee. I wonder if Curry Kirkpatrick was writing that in Sports Illustrated. Hey, that's Butch Lee.
Pittsburgh ice cold from the perimeter. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the Big East.
Especially with Ramon. Ramon can make those threes, so can Cook.
Graves the elbow jumper. Not there. And Lott is tied up with Young. Break it up, fellas. Remember, these two teams, there's no love lost between them. They've had 3 intense physical games over the last couple of years, all of which have gone down to the wire. Pittsburgh's going to have to play a lot better to have this one go down to the wire tonight here in Milwaukee. Welcome back here to the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. They're going crazy. They're going crazy because the Kiss Cam went up on the, there you go. And moments ago, the Kiss Cam up on the big screen here, and somehow the two pretty cheerleaders brought you out of your shell. Amazing how that happened. So, Dan Schulman, Dick Vitale, Mr. Kiss Cam here in Milwaukee. What a day of college basketball. Thank you. There we go. Sorry, Mom. What a day of college basketball. Ohio State, a big win in Ann Arbor. Boy, Tommy Amaker's team could have used it. Illinois loses at Iowa. UCLA loses some wild games today.
Well, really wild. I think the one thing that I see happening out there, you look at the number 1 seeds or the number 2 seeds, none of them are really what we call a dominator, invincible. And that's why I think we're going to have some magic moments during this tournament. I think it's going to be the most unpredictable March Madness in many, many years.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, we're going to get a real shock out there. Like I said, Jimmy Valvano in 83, when we had 88, Danny and Manny.
Yeah.
I mean, people were chanting.
Danny and the Miracles.
They were chanting NIT, NIT. They were 12-8.
Now, you talked about some big conference teams. Maryland, I think you mentioned, and Arizona, who might be able to make a run. What about a smaller, what about a mid-major? Can somebody pull off a George Mason this year?
Southern Illinois. Watch the Salukis. I think Winthrop could cause problems early, but I don't think enough to win 6 games or win 4 to get to the Final Four.
Wesley Matthews wraps up. Mike Cook. Cook will shoot a couple as we go to Dave Revson in the studio for a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
Okay, Dan, the Buccaneers reached an agreement with free agent QB Jeff Garcia, 2-year deal. Also traded for the rights to Jake Plummer, although he has said he may retire. As for the college hoops, 4 automatic bids today. Winthrop is in for the 7th time in 9 years. Belmont going out of the A-Sun. Davidson wins the Southern. Eastern Kentucky takes the Ohio Valley. Sports Center after the game. ESPN News anytime.
All right, Dave. Well, a development here as Dominique James, in some pain, goes to the bench. And we don't want to speculate on what it is. Obviously, something to do with his right leg. Maybe just a cramp, the way that he is, as I go on and speculate. Maybe just a cramp as he's rubbing his leg there on the bench. But, boy, they can ill afford to be without him. Let's check in with Aaron Andrews.
Well, Dan, like you mentioned, we don't want to speculate, but Dominique James, he suffers from cramps, which is why he wears those socks the way he does. Looks like they're putting a heating pad on him. Obviously, I'll keep you guys up to date if we hear anything.
All right, Aaron, thank you. He has been so good and so important tonight, especially in the absence of Jarrell McNeil. So right now, it's Kubian at the point. Matthews is his backcourt partner, and then Hayward is up front along with Barrow and Fitzgerald.
Well, with no McNeil, no James on the floor, if Pittsburgh's going to make a run, they better do it now. Time is running out, my friends.
And Young is fouled on the rebound.
I just wonder if you think Georgetown is cheering right now for Marquette. You think the Hoyas are cheering for Marquette?
Won an outright title. Well, Dominique James has had an extraordinary night.
He has really passed the ball so well by attacking the basket. Great vision. He knows where people are on the floor. You can see they work on that. There's the drive by Matthews. Making threes. I'll tell you, they've been so effective offensively and defensively. Defensively, they've been really outstanding. They have really shut down Gray.
Yep. Marquette won in overtime at Pittsburgh January 21st. Gray will get an assist as Young's baseline jumper goes down. And again, Pittsburgh has crept to within 11.
You know, for a star player, Gray is very unselfish.
When Pittsburgh made a real run at the end of regulation against Marquette back in January, they did it with Gray on the bench, went with a smaller lineup. Nowhere to go for Matthews, and he stepped out of bounds.
That's a big turnover now. They can get the single digits right here. They got to hope to get it to about 5 or 6 at the 5-minute mark.
Tom Crean checking with Dominique James on his progress.
See, I would play the game in segments right now. If I'm talking to my team, I want them to play it in segments. We need a little spurt. Let's win the 4-minute segment. Let's win it 8-1, 8-2.
Golden Eagles in a 2-3 zone. Mike Cook stepped out of bounds.
That's silly. That's absolutely inexcusable. And I don't blame Jamie Dixon, who's done a great job at Pittsburgh, being a little frustrated right there in that possession.
Pittsburgh fans are already thinking ahead to the postseason because as great as this run has been, the Panthers have not gotten past the Sweet 16 at all. Do you think they've got the makings to get deeper than that?
Oh, they really do. They're one of those clubs. They got defense. They got perimeter play.
Got experience, too. Got seniors.
And they got a star. I think if you have those 3 elements covered, defense, good guard play, and a star player to make big plays for you late, you have a chance.
Pittsburgh's going to get the ball back.
I think Pittsburgh, Wisconsin, Texas A&M all fall in that category. I love AC Law. He's going to make my first team All-American.
Yep.
In fact, you're going to be hosting a show, 1 hour special on ABC March 31st. All-American show.
He has had a phenomenal year, and it speaks to how well he's played that people are actually saying, well, hey, maybe Law should be up there with Kevin Durant for Big 12 Player of the Year.
Clear cut, absolutely no shot, layup. Durant now National Player of the Year.
32 more today, 25 in the first half, turned his ankle in the second half, but returned to the game in the loss to Kansas.
Just what he's done to make that club so competitive.
They got to get a shot off here, and they don't know it. Cook doesn't get it off in time.
Shot clock, violation, good defensive again. That's been the strong suit all night at Marquette. Oh, is he proud of that defense. Comes from a great family in terms of, when you talk about his wife and his in-laws, in terms of the background, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, married to Joni Harbaugh, sister of Jim Harbaugh.
Jim now going to be the head coach at Stanford. I think he's going to be a star there. Did a great job at San Diego. His father was a terrific coach at Western Kentucky.
We near the 8-minute mark. McNeil out with an injury. James on the bench right now with what looks like he cramped. Marquette will keep the basketball. They are playing an inspired game here tonight.
I'll tell you what, I thought Tom Crean had inspired the crowd with his message before the game. How badly they needed their support, especially with McNeil out. All those little things give you an edge. Does he work that side? There isn't a player in the building that works any harder than he does.
Folks, you should see him in practice. As hard as his players work, I bet you Tom Crean walks and runs more than his players do in practice. He is all energy and intensity all the time. Marquette has been very patient here tonight and oftentimes have worked the shot clock under 10.
Patience usually leads to points. If you got poise, you take good shots.
Kubiana, good look. Misses the 3. Offensive rebound. Lazar Hayward. Gray a block. Graves the other way, a little bit out of control, and he turns it over.
You know, it's 11 the last 3 possessions. Pittsburgh has turned the ball over and not gotten a good shot. That's going to absolutely frustrate Jamie Dixon.
Marquette up 11 on Pittsburgh. We'll take a look at Dickie V's All-American team when we come back after this.
Basketball is presented by DirecTV. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV. And in part by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. And Old Spice Red Zone Body Wash.
Welcome back to Milwaukee, home of some of the friendliest people in America. Glad you were here with us at the Bradley Center. Marquette leading by 11 as we check out, as promised, Dickie V's All-American team for 06-07.
Now here's my final 5. The guys by position that I like. I picked AC Law as my point guard. He's been a clutch player. Aaron Aflalo has been special for UCLA despite a bad outing today. Orlando Tucker missed the consistency for Wisconsin, the Badgers. Kevin Durant to do it all night but dandy. He's been sensational, and Nick Fasikas has been absolutely sensational for Nevada. That's my top 5. Hey, Dan, I got a call earlier this week from Bob Wolfley, outstanding writer here in Milwaukee. He said, give me your 5 best players of all time. How do you like this?
Just based on their college careers.
College careers, nothing to do with the NBA. My backcourt, Oscar Robertson, Cincinnati. Jerry West from out of certainly West Virginia. And up front, Larry Bird, David Thompson, and Lou Alcindor.
Coach, you wouldn't lose many. Dominique James is back. and immediately picks up a new career high in assists with 10. Ousmane Barrow on the finish. Aaron confirmed during the break it was a cramp in the right leg for James, and he's now returned in spectacular fashion.
Well, Aaron doing a great job, double duty. She worked out at Wisconsin, Michigan State this afternoon. Over here, that's dedication.
Sam Young, no. Gray the follow, yes, and one.
He's going to have a double-double tonight, and it's going to be a real quiet double-double.
Yeah, Gray now with 8 points and 9 rebounds.
Going to get the offensive rebound. There's the size and the conversion.
Meanwhile, the other end, the no-look lob from Dominique James to Ousmane Barrow, who has 10 points and 8 rebounds. If you're Tom Crean and they said statistically Barrow would play Gray to a standstill, you'd take that every day of the week.
Absolutely. I think what he'd take is their performance, the way they're really handling the basketball, taking good shots. They're not first. I haven't seen many bad shots.
No. James in control all night long. Matthews a very good offensive night.
You know, Dan, psychologically, they needed this win. They needed a win. You lose 4 out of 5.
They don't have it yet. But,
no, but you lose 4 out of 5. I mean, that is really puts you in a mental state that's not really good going into postseason.
They're looking at being the number 6 seed if they win this game tonight. And if they're the 6th, their first round game would be against the 11th seed of the Big East tournament, which will be either Connecticut or St. John's. If they win that, and they're going to wind up, in all likelihood, playing Pittsburgh again.
Throw the ball inside the grave.
Yeah, he's open right now.
They missed him. What a nice look.
And Benjamin gets the roll and will go to the line.
Benjamin down to God. This game's far from over. The way Pittsburgh can attack, they got winning experience, a winner's mentality. I tell you, Gray, outstanding passer. Now watch this right here. You're going to see his passing ability.
Look how open he is there.
Wide open. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about. Get me the ball. He's screaming. Get me the rock. And then he's so unselfish. He finds the cutter right down the gut of the defense.
Marquette calls a timeout. Tom Crean doesn't like the way that this one is going right now, as Pittsburgh has crept to within 8, still with a full 6 minutes to go. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods has the SEC Women's Championship on ESPN2 tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern. LSU beat Tennessee today, so LSU will take on the winner of Vanderbilt and Georgia. They're playing right now. ESPN is the exclusive home for the Women's NCAA Championship.
I'll tell you, I had such a great time down there with Bruce Pearl and his kids. Knoxville, Peyton Manning was in the house. He's got that place rocking. And then Pat Summitt. That was unbelievable.
Great. That was great.
Only thing I blew, I wish I had the hat. Everybody's asking about the hat. I would have had Peyton Manning sign it. I would have had Pat sign it. I would have auctioned it off at our big event on May 18th. By the way, tickets are flying, my friend. They are flying. I can't wait
and
for that
you're talking
night.
about the Jimmy V Gala down in Sarasota.
Well, we honor Mike Krzyzewski. Anybody wants any tickets that are still left, call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V.
8-point lead, Marquette, 6 minutes to go. Keith Benjamin at the line. Look at what Benjamin is trying to shoot free throws into.
Wow.
Look at all of our ugly mugs up there.
Where'd they get those glasses? I mean, unbelievable. I haven't worn those in years. I was going to get a picture, get a new one.
Benjamin, a solid contributor off the bench. Jamie Dixon likes to say, we're like a baseball team. We've got 9 starters.
They're starting to beat Marquette to the basketball.
Boy, they're just not hit from outside, and Sam Young is going to get called for a push.
Yeah, he got called right there. No doubt about it.
Pittsburgh is now 0 for 8 from three-point range in the second half and just 4 for 17 in the game.
John Cal was right on that call.
And now James has gone out. It looks like that cramping is back. So it'll be Kubion at the point as we check out the stat track. Marquette doing a terrific job shooting the ball very well against a good defensive team in Pittsburgh. And their bench, led by Kinsella, Early, and Kubion, has been strong tonight. Gray with another block.
They doing a lot of good things that would not be in that box score. By screening right there, and they missed him on a screen and roll. Get him the ball right now. You had the angle.
One of the few times he's gotten a touchdown in the post.
Got to work strong. Creating the foul opportunity.
And a bit of a late call goes against Barrow.
I tell you, that coaching staff getting a little nervous for Tom Crean. He's assembled a good one with Jason Rabideau. Certainly you're talking about Jerry Seaston, Benny Seltzer, former Oklahoma guy. There he is right down there. It's a little contact.
Tom Crean very upset with the call from Michael Stevens and voicing his displeasure. Gray goes to the line. Not a very good free throw shooter, but he missed some big ones in the loss to Marquette last month. Gray is just 53% of the season.
Yeah, he's going to have to really improve that area. On the next level, he's got to be able to convert about 70%.
1 of 2, and there's the double-double. 10 points, 11 rebounds. His parents, Michael and Sandy, looking on out of Emmaus, Pennsylvania. They've been to every home game in his career and a whole lot of road games as well.
Not in that 2-3 zone, normally a man-to-man team.
Fitzgerald open. He's a guy who really hurt Pittsburgh in that game in January. Knocked down 4 threes, and now Fitzgerald may be injured as he is slow to get back up.
Tell you what, he's stepping in for a guy who's a transfer out of Tulane. Did they have a shooter last year, Mr. Novak? Wow.
Yep, now with Houston not playing a whole lot, but at 6'10", as dangerous a matchup as there was in the country last year.
I'll tell you, being in the NBA, that's a victory in itself. Yep. Nice little paycheck. Greatest athletes in the world are the NBA players.
Dominic James, by the way, has now jogged off. He has gone to the locker room.
That's a major loss with McNeil now out, and now James. Pittsburgh has to take advantage. Oh, Gray was wide open. I mean, he knew where he was going to pass that ball.
Touch pass to Sam Young, who is screaming for a foul call.
I thought the ball slipped out of his hand. Tried that backdoor cut. Good anticipation by Gray. He knew ahead of time where that ball was going.
Golden Eagles, a big-time drought at this end of the floor. Matthews has been their go-to guy offensively tonight. Kubian. Saved by Matthews. Fitzgerald open for 3. Pittsburgh's got it back again.
Those threes went down in the first matchup. Another turnover.
Hayward knocked it away, and Hayward will finish at the other end.
That could be a 4-point swing. You go up the other way and you get a deuce. You get it to 5 instead of your bound 9. And I love it. The Golden Eagle fans going bananas. Second year in the Big East. George, Louisville, Cincinnati, and South Florida. Oh, I feel so bad for them. That's a tough job.
Ramon finally knocks one down. First 3 of the second half for Pitt.
We're going to have a good finish to this game.
Yep.
Without James on the floor, I think there's a little hesitation now offensively in their rhythm.
Well, Tom Crean's a believer, like a lot of coaches, that teams that can deal with adversity and get by with it and find a way to win, it can really serve them well later on. And with no McNeil and now with no James, this is some pretty big adversity for the Golden Eagles.
Well, you take 2/3 of their lethal 3 away.
Gray with a foul from behind, his 4th. Six-point lead, Marquette, trying to beat a very good Pittsburgh team without 2 of its best players.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. Marquette leading Pitt 61-55. Dominique James out of the game right now, and actually he's behind this curtain back in the locker room. This is a player who suffers quite a bit from cramps. That's why, like we said, he wears those high socks. Now what the trainers want is to take him back there, get him out of the element, give him some fluids, calm him down, stretch him out. That's the best way to handle this situation, and Dan will let you know when he runs back out.
All right, Aaron, we'll keep an eye on that because he is so important to the Marquette cause. But, boy, you've got to give the Golden Eagles so much credit for the way they have all picked it up in the absence of McNeil and now James.
Well, they've all really elevated their games, and they've done a great job on the defensive side. Kubian's really been solid for them off the bench.
It will be Kubian, Fitzgerald, Matthews, Barrow, and Hayward in the game for Marquette. That's 4 fouls, as we told you before the break, on Aaron Gray. Frustrating night for Gray, frustrating night for Jamie Dixon.
I'll tell you one thing, he's got to be proud of the way his kids are battling back, though. I mean, they could have folded up. They went down 57-42 when James went out of the lineup. 15-point lead down to 6, so it's a -9 with him out.
And now Marquette has to use a 30. They couldn't get the ball in. Again, what's at stake? A Pittsburgh win. They'll share the regular season Big East title with Georgetown. Georgetown would still get the 1 seed on a tiebreaker. Pitt would be 2. If Pitt loses this game and Louisville wins at home against Seton Hall tomorrow, then Pittsburgh would drop down to the number 3 seed. A Marquette win, they're number 6. A Marquette loss, they're number 7. Either way, it looks like 2 versus 7 or 3 versus 6, that they could play again in the quarterfinals if Marquette can take care of business in their first round game.
I'll tell you, one of the great moments in Marquette basketball was when the Golden Eagles had an 83-69 win over number 1 ranked Kentucky when Dwayne Wade went bananas and had a triple-double, 29 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, and Marquette then got beat by Kansas. Hey, what about that poll down in Kentucky? And one of the papers down there, should they fire Tubby Smith? Are they wacky? Are they wacky? Do they know how good that guy is and the job he's done? That's just purely expectations being outrageous. Just like the Yankees. They can win 100 games, win the division, means nothing unless they win the World Series.
Now Marquette again, Dick, being very patient. The clock is their ally. No sign of Dominique James. Kubian at the point, using as much time as he can before they get the offense started.
Well, right now, as you said, that clock is their friend. They're in that zone, allowing you to take some time off that clock. Good block by Gray.
Remember, playing with 4 fouls. That's his 4th block of the night.
Plenty of time right now for Pittsburgh. They got to be excited that they're even in a position to make this run because they look like they were being knocked out when they went down by 17.
Shot clock at 6. Fitzgerald trying to go up and under. Gray got a piece of it again. Tom Crean wanted foul number 5.
He's got to watch out. He doesn't get a technical. Doesn't need that right now.
Gray calling for the ball down to the post.
I like that. When a big guy wants the ball, but they do a great job defensively and he keeps the ball. See, he's a little bit late with the entry. Feeding the post is a lost art. You got to make that pass at the right moment that big guy flashes to that ball.
Gray 4 for 5 from the field, 10 points, 11 rebounds.
It's a big possession for Pittsburgh. Big possession. This is probably their most important possession of the night so far.
Foul on Hayward of Marquette. 2:14 to go here in the second half. Marquette came into the game with Jarrell McNeil out with a thumb injury. Dominique James hasn't played in several minutes because of cramps. Yet Marquette is trying to beat Pittsburgh here. They're leading by 6. Dan Schulman, Dick Vitale, Urban Andrews, the Saturday primetime game presented by DirecTV. There is what has happened since James went out. And bit by bit, possession by possession, Pittsburgh's creeping closer and closer.
Well, the foul right there stops the clock, allows them to get points while the clock is stopped. I really believe if this baby ever goes to overtime, even though it's on the road, I'd give the edge to Pittsburgh, especially because of the status of James and McNeil.
Closest Pittsburgh has been since midway through the first half.
Since the warm-ups, probably. I mean, it's been all domination, Marquette, for like 35 minutes in this game. See, they're playing right now to take time off that clock, which is kind of smart. It's smart basketball because they're playing so short-handed.
They might have to make some free throws to seal this one. They are not a good free throw shooting team, but they did an incredible job hitting free throws in the overtime win over Pittsburgh in January.
They're just hoping they got enough points. They can win this baby.
Kubian!
Oh, that's big. That diaper Dandy hit the biggest shot of his young career. That's a big shot for Kubian. Really puts pressure on Pittsburgh.
His 4th three-pointer of the night, and it's back to 7. Ball still loose on the floor, and a timeout called by the Golden Eagles.
That was a big-time possession, and he responded under pressure, Kubian, and knocked it down.
James is coming back out. Whether he's going to get into the game, who knows? But what a job in relief by Kubian.
It's a 4-point game. Shot clock winding down. They reverse the basketball. They swing it. They get the overload against the zone, and he drills the 3. That is pressure, my friends. That's like you, Dan, always really performing under pressure.
Look at Kubian. Reminds me a little bit of Kyle Lowry of Villanova.
That's good, yeah.
He plays with a real fire in his belly like Lowry did. And boy, have the fans responded to him. James is trying to get loose, trying to get himself to the point where he can get back into this game.
He's a beautiful kid. Spoke to him before the game. Just loves to play and compete. Wants to win. First thing he said, we got to get a W tonight. Got to get a W tonight.
foul shots the rest of the way for Pittsburgh. Next one on Pitt sends Marquette to the line. The Golden Eagles are out of timeouts. They do have the arrow. And most importantly, they've got a 7-point lead with just about 23 to go.
I only wish that Al McGuire could enjoy the success of Tom Crean. I remember near the end of his life, he told me, he said, Dixie, he called me Dixie. He said, Dixie, let me tell you, they got a good one here. It's Tom Crean.
They do. They've got a coach that is on everybody's short list when other jobs come open. But he's very happy here. He's got a long-term contract, and he has really put this program back on the map.
He likes baseball. They got a beautiful field here.
Yeah. He goes to see Brewer games a lot. We talked about his friendship with Tony La Russa. He goes down to St. Louis.
Prince Fielder's going to be a star for them. Ben Sheets on the mound.
They're going to have a good year. They're going to have a good year this year.
Yeah. And Yost, good manager.
Yes. Now let's see if they can handle the pressure, because here it comes. Foul by Ramon. Matthews will go to the line for the 1-and-1.
It's all what you said earlier. Make free throws and they'll seal the deal.
Only 66% as a team this year, but the best free throw shooter they have is Wesley Matthews, 75%. He's going to the line now.
Hey, here's my all Big East team. I want to think what you think about it. You and Lenny Elmore certainly know the league really well. I got Jeff Green.
Yep.
I got Aaron Gray.
Yep.
I got right now, you got to think about Demetrius Nichols, Curtis Sumter. I'm going by Super 7. Dominic James, Roy Hibbert, and Jeff McDermott. Coach of the year, Mike Gray. Freshman of the year, Scotty Reynolds.
There's one guy I got to have on that team.
Okay.
I'll wait till Herbert Hill, I think, has to be on that team for Providence. He has had a couple of phenomenal games. I think they're a dangerous team.
I thought you were going to say Russell Carter.
Russell Carter could be on there. It's a league with a lot of balance, both in terms of the teams and the players.
How do you like my choice as Coach of the Year?
I like your choice. I like your choice of Mike Gray. Notre Dame, I think, was picked 11th preseason by the coaches. They locked up the 4th seed today with a win over Rutgers.
Mike Bray's doing a little dance now. He's watching on TV. He's going, cheer, cheer for Notre Dame.
You know why he's cheering? He got himself a first-round bye. Doesn't have to win 4 games in 4 days. Missed free throw. The door is still open here for Pitt. Fields.
He's had a tough night.
Yes, he has.
Fields has not had a night that he's capable of. He's too good a talent.
1 for 10 from the field, 0 for 5 from the arc.
Wow. He's saying, please don't put those numbers up there.
Oh, he's an awfully good player.
He's too good.
Yeah.
He's very good, very talented.
Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is upon us. A total of 89 men's and women's games. The championships from 34 different conferences. And every ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Classic game is available on ESPN 360. I'll be lucky enough to be at the Big East Championship in New York. I'll be with Len Elmore. You'll be with Mike Patrick down in ACC country.
Hey, Mike, we wish you nothing but the best. My buddy got hurt. My chair collapsed up at Duke. He put his arm under to brace my fall, and he got a tendon.
He tore his tendon, right?
Yeah.
His arm, and tore a bicep.
Yeah.
We wish you well, Mike.
Spoke him on the phone. Mike will be ready in the ACC. Do another phenomenal job.
Aaron will be in Big Ten country during championship week. Benjamin from the wing misses the 3. The outside shots have not been falling for the Panthers tonight.
And they normally can shoot that 3.
Gray and 1. Gray now with a dozen points and a dozen rebounds.
I told you when he was struggling to have the double-double. He's right on target with his numbers, basically. Here comes Gray with the offensive rebound in a perfect position, has the size advantage.
Well, it looks like Pittsburgh may drop to the number 3 seed in the Big East. That's if Louisville can defeat Seton Hall tomorrow, and that game's at Freedom Hall. So your top 4 for the Big East could be, as James checks back in, could be Georgetown, Louisville, Pittsburgh, and Notre Dame in that order.
I'll tell you one thing, Louisville, we saw them earlier this year struggling, but it shows you the genius of Rick Pitino. He believed in that team, and all he needed was a healthy cast. He got a healthy group of players, and Derek Carricker was sensational against Marquette and played well against Pittsburgh as well, gave them post presence.
Yeah, Louisville won a thriller in this building. Jerry Smith, a Wisconsin native, hit a 3 at the buzzer to beat him. He's also, Rick Pitino already got him. They're sharing the basketball. Terrence Williams has become a terrific passer.
He's passing the ball really well. Hey, I just went to the VBDI. I hit a button and it lit up. And here's the Big East schools. All you teams can relax. Georgetown.
This is who's in you're talking about?
Marquette, Louisville, Notre Dame, Syracuse, Villanova, and West Virginia.
In.
They're in the tournament. They're in the dance. Don't even worry about Selection Sunday. Right. You're in. What's the SBDI say?
The SBDI is on the fence with West Virginia.
Wow.
I think they need one.
You better not go down there and do a game this year.
Fields still trying, finally knocks one down. It's a 5-point game. Jamie Dixon uses his last timeout.
Still a little time if they can get a steal here or get a missed free throw and get the ball and come back up.
Well, this is our last Saturday primetime game of the season. It's been so much fun to work with you on the Saturday nights and with Phil Dean and Doug Holmes and Eric Mosley, Matt Bartley, Bonnie Riley, everybody else in the truck. It's been fun. We got a little video evidence of what we're calling, I think, Dickie V's Saturday Circus. This is how Dick has traveled around the nation this winter.
Oh, wow.
Week by week, North Carolina. Somehow, you always get dragged against your will into the stands and and wind up having the time of your life. It's been a fun ride, huh?
I love being with all the people, and I want to echo what you said. We work with so many great people behind the scenes to make it all happen. Doug Holmes is terrific. Certainly Phil Dean, our boss Dan Steer, and all the people. Bonnie Riley.
Your traveling cheerleaders, your friends that you make every week.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm 67. I tell you, I act about 12, and it's all because of the reaction and the unbelievable reception I get by young people. I love you all. You've given me the greatest life that anybody can ever have.
And he's not just saying that. That's how he feels. He talks about it all the time. And it's been great to come to an environment like this. We've had a chance to go some places we don't go a whole lot. First Saturday primetime game here at Marquette was great. The game, the Texas A&M Kansas game was phenomenal, and I got kissed on national television.
Let me tell you this. Our camera guys and our camera ladies are the best. Timmy's been with us all year. Tim does a phenomenal job. All of them do. They make us. These people work so hard. You know, we get all the glory and all the recognition, but they work so hard.
A quick foul by Ramon. Matthews is going to go back to the line. Pittsburgh has no choice but to keep fouling and hope that Marquette misses free throws. That's the 10th team foul, I believe, so it's going to be 2 shots right now for Matthews.
Well, it's key for them right now. Pittsburgh's got to hope for the miss and come back and score real quick. No time went off that clock. Too bad you can't beat
Kubion, excuse me, not Matthews.
Wednesday night, we're having a big bash honoring Fred Barakat, the ACC, ESPN at my house in beautiful Florida, and it's going to be a blast. 6 o'clock on Wednesday night. Why don't you come?
I got a game to do. You better turn on your TV at 7 o'clock.
We're going to be partying, but we'll have the TV on. I'll guarantee we'll listen. Kubion, big
season high for David Kubion, who has been outstanding. James is in the game right now, but with McNeil not playing at all, and James in and out here in the second half, Kubion has been huge for them.
He has really elevated himself tonight. You talk about stepping up, and don't forget those 2 threes by Kinsella.
Gray inside.
Oh, you don't want to foul. You don't want to foul. That's silly.
Barrow fouls, and Gray can make it a 4-point game.
Making a bounce pass right into Gray. There's the contact.
Pittsburgh bench has not given up hope yet.
I think they've scrapped and battled back. They were down big, and they seem to be very flat. And then all of a sudden, they got a little life, and it might be too late.
Gray gets the bounce. Mom and Dad like it. It's a 4-point game. Gray's going to come out. Cook's going to come in.
Not over yet. If they can foul here and get a missed free throw, well, first you try to get the steal.
Yep.
A face guarding on the inbounds. Good move by Jamie Dixon. Full court pressure.
Hayward has it knocked away, but it stays with Marquette. Good effort there by Sam Young.
What he was doing there is playing 5 against 4. Had like a center fielder. Had guys face guarding, making it difficult to throw the ball in. Got a foul right away. Can't wait.
Cook fouls Fitzgerald. A reminder that SportsCenter is coming up next here on ESPN with John Anderson and John Abuchagras, and they'll look at a very busy and a meaningful day in college basketball. Who improved their resume? Which potential #1 seed stumbled today? And also we'll look at the NFL free agency frenzy. That's coming up next on SportsCenter. To the line, Dan Fitzgerald, 73% on the season.
He's got a really good stroke. We have not seen it today. He was very effective against them in our first matchup. In fact, in the first matchup when they beat him in overtime at the Oakland Zoo, where it's tough to win, they got such a great crowd there. They made 10 free throws in a row. Marquette did in overtime.
And tonight, they're an impressive 13 out of 16 from the line. And again, this is not a great free throw shooting team.
They seem to focus, though, against Pittsburgh. In fact, they not only made 10 in a row in overtime, they made their last 14.
Well, if Marquette wins this, it would be 3 wins in 4 games in the last 2 years over one of the better programs, not only in this league, but in the country.
Smart going to a 2-2-1. Let him have to take some time off the clock.
Young for 3. This game is not over.
This club's not going away. There's Young with the big trifecta. You got a one-possession game now.
And Kubiak fouled by Ramon.
They made their last 4 in a row, though.
If I'm Tom Crean, I feel pretty good about Kubiak going to the line. If I'm Jamie Dixon, I feel pretty good about this 3 going in. Sam Young knocks it down.
Last 2 guys to go to the line, Kubiak and Fitzgerald, have been really very cool about it.
Kubiak just a freshman, but as you mentioned, a very poised, perfect from the line tonight. 6 for 6 tonight and over 70% on the season.
Played for a terrific high school coach, Danny Hurley. A very competitive environment down there at St. Benedict's Academy. Played with Lance Thomas, who plays for Duke. I'll tell you, that free throw line special situations, the difference for coaches so many times. It's a difference maker. Here's 6 in a row at a crucial time they've made. How big is that?
Pretty tough customer, Kubiak. Continues to add to his career night, 20 points.
Pittsburgh trying to trade 3 for 2, though.
Yep.
They make it 2. They can knock the 3. They score right away. Can't waste time.
Field short on the 3. Gray lays it back in.
Still keeps it to 1 possession. They're going to try one more time. Foul and get some time off that clock.
Matthews is fouled. 8.2 seconds to go, and again, a good free throw shooter is heading to the line.
He makes 1 here. It's history. Lights out, party, celebration.
Look at the job they've done, and that's been Kubiak and Matthews. Barrow was wide open on that inbounds play, but they didn't want the ball to go to him. They waited till Matthews or Kubiak came open.
10 out of 12 in the last minute 40, but it's 6 out of 6 in the last 30 seconds. 7 out of 7. I mean, that is the way you win basketball games. What a gutty performance. You play without McNeil, play almost half the game without James, play against a very good team, a team with purpose, a team who came here really fired up to want to win a share of the Big East title.
Young for 3. And the Marquette Golden Eagles, with an injury-depleted roster, beat Pittsburgh for the 2nd time this season and lock up the number 6 seed in the Big East tournament. Pittsburgh may fall to number 3. They will if Louisville beats Seton Hall tomorrow. That means Georgetown is the outright winner of the Big East regular season championship with this result here tonight.
Congratulations to John Thompson III, the rising star, and the Hoyas winning the Big East, because to me, better than even winning the local in terms of the tournament. That is really tested time. You did it over the entire 3-month period.
The last time the Hoyas were the number 1 seed going into the Big East tournament was the last time they won it. Believe it or not, that was 1989. The Hoyas are back, but the Panthers and Golden Eagles will both be heard from during championship week. Marquette beats Pittsburgh 75-71. Wes Matthews and David Kubiak each with 20. Tom Crean standing by with Aaron Andrews.
Giving Jerome McNeil a hug right now, and I'm going to grab him. Coach, without this guy, Jerome McNeil, for the entire game, and then you lose Dominique James for most of the second half, so how are you able to pull it out?
Great resiliency. These guys were so focused on playing the right way, sharing the ball, playing great defense. Our rebounding has improved tremendously in a short period of time. All the credit goes to the players.
What does a win like this do for you going into the postseason?
Well, hopefully in a week it's going to help our seeding, but it just brings us, great confidence. Hey, we could see these guys again down the road. We know whoever we play on Wednesday, it's going to be an absolute war. The Big East tournament, there's nothing like it.
Go enjoy it. Thanks. Dan.
All right, Aaron, thank you. You can see the happiness on the face of Tom Crean and how proud he is of his players for the effort they put forth tonight as they beat Pittsburgh 75-71. Sports Center is next on ESPN, and for more on this game, we'll be over on ESPN News in just a moment to wrap things up. What a performance by Kubiak. What a performance by Matthews. What a performance by James as Marquette beats Pittsburgh. For Dick Vitale, Aaron Andrews, and the Game Day Gang, I'm Dan Shulman. A good night from Milwaukee. Thanks for watching. Sports Center is next.